Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Bitcoin report for Wednesday, August 25th. We're going to be looking at the bullish count and the bearish count. Yesterday we started with the bearish count. Today we're going to start with the bullish count. So wave 3 here with an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 4. And from wave 4 we make new highs up towards the 80,000 and so on. There's different ways to count this. Even if I made a mistake here and we've got wave 4 sitting over here instead of wave 1 and 2 here and having wave 4 here, it wouldn't make any difference. It would just be wave 1 of this degree of structure and wave 2 here, then wave 1 and 2, and then wave 1 and 2, and continuing to build to the upside. As I've always mentioned, we want to see a classic trading levels pattern sitting on top of 50 as the support, as one way to confirm that we would be going further up at this stage. But we're just in this space here at the arrival here. We haven't really even had a good sort of reaction. But my problem is that if we do have a reaction here, we're going to create overlapping wave structures, and it's going to create a bearish move at that particular point in time. So we can look at, first of all, the 50 here as the support, and it would need a pattern like this or a variation of that to confirm to be bullish. Or we could just look at the wave structure here. So this could be wave 1 here and back for wave 2 here, and then pushing up for 3, 4 and 5, pushing up in higher there, and then 4 and 5, and continuing to the upside. So that's all possible, and we can just look at the intraday chart here for that. Let me bring this back in here for this. So if we looked at it as wave 2 here, and then wave 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 here, and then 3, 4, 5. Now, we talked about this yesterday. So between this low and this high, the 61.8% comes in on group 2, so 46,500. So the bullish count would be valid while the 46,500 remains as the support. Yes, it can spike through it, but it wouldn't want to find the 46,500 as the resistance, because at that point the bearish case would kind of swing, would have more dominance, let's say. How else could we count this to the upside? Well, we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 1, and then pulling back 50-60% for wave 2. We could do that, and so on. But in a bullish market, you'd want to see these ranges expanding. So I've got them here as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. So that is expanding as such. But what we're seeing here is we're seeing diminishing ranges. We could look at it in both ways. You could look at it as a negative or positive in that regard. And also too, I want to have a look. I want to get a better. This is bit stamps here, so I sort of have a bit more trust in the volume rather than looking at a CFD provider. So we're at the 50,000, which is in the box here. We can just remove all that for a moment. And what I want to point out here, this is a weekly chart. So we're seeing the market move up here, but we're seeing the market move up on lower volume. So that's divergence. That's the sort of thing that you'd see in your indicators. So obviously there's no real buying going on at this point. It's more like no one's buying, no one's selling kind of thing, So that's a sign of, weakness there, really, because for a trend to be a trend, it needs expanding volume. It's like this back over here. We could see that the volume's diminishing over here while the trend's still going up. That's divergence. Sure, it can go up for a while, but, it's not going to go on forever, put it that way, So that's what we're seeing here as well at the 50. So this is why we need to be extremely careful. And there's a good basis for a bearish case in this. So on the bullish side of things here, I'll take this a step further. If we look at that as wave 1 and 2 here, and then I'm just going to cut through to my tick chart, and it'll be a little bit messy, but we just really want to hone in on that little area there. Okay, so we'll bring in a bit more data. So now we're looking at the top here. So yesterday we started to count this down. So I can look at it as 1 and 2 and all the way down to 3, 4, 5 here, possibly for wave 1 or the A wave and the B wave here. And then looking down here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave C here. So if this low holds here and the market moves up, well then that's sort of fine. It would need to, this could just be, you know, there's a lot of things that could go on here, really. So if we took the top here and this, normally what I would say is would go long above the B wave. Right, but that's a long way off. So we could also look to go long above, this is the 50-60% in here. So if we see or you see the market above 4.9 or the 4.9 as a support, well then it's likely that we're going to be in a bullish mode at that point, okay? But breaking a new low here, we do have overlapping wave structures here, so it does make it a corrective pattern and a continuation pattern in line with the trend here. So it certainly can send it lower. As I mentioned yesterday, the 46,500, this is all of group 2 here, by the way, and it's sitting on the top of the 48 here. So anyway, all of minor group 2. If this becomes the retested resistance here, then you know that we're likely to be heading down at that point, you know. But the other point here too is that if we look at this as wave 1 and 2 here and down for 3 and looks like a kind of a wave 4 here because it's traveling sideways. So let's assume that it does come down to the 61.8%. Well, then we're in a bit of trouble at that point, because then we were likely to have this down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It can pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, or the 38.2% retracement level, and that's what that zone is there. And if it pulls down for here, well then it's likely that we would need to look at this here as wave 1 or even wave A at this point. Probably wave 1, but just letting you know that. But if we get 5 waves here, then we're going to get a rally back. And because we got 5 waves here, we're going to get a rally, and then we're going to have another 5 waves down. Yeah, it'll be like that. So there you go. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the bearish side, which we kind of did in here. We looked at both of them. But the takeaway here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we get 5 waves here, then it's likely we're going to get, well, we'll get 3 here and we'll get another 5 down. Just going to have a look at my little crypto index here as well. So we can look at wave A, B here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and I've been counting up here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So I don't need this anymore. So is that a top there? I mean, the other point to this too is that this can be part of a classic trading levels pattern, but this is how a market fails as well. So with a classic trading levels pattern, we can look at it as the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then the ABC pattern coming down, and then finding support over here for that, and then going long again. So in that case, we've got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level in 5 waves. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and come back to the 50-60% mark and move off from that point. So, you know, let's just have a look at that first of all. So that comes in at this space here. This is just the top 10 cryptos. So it could do that, right? But it's more likely to have 5 waves down here, a rally here, and then come back down to here. Now, it could find support back on here again. If it did that, that would be a long trade at that point. That's where we would go long. But at the same time, this is also where it can fail. It can come back here, retest this. You can retest it a few times in here and here, and then drop here. And then below this one here, then that would also give us 5 waves down, and then we would see an ABC at that point, and then down again at that point. So I'm not being bearish, I'm not being bullish, but I must say that you know, because I've got pocket money on this as well. So I have to say there is a good case for being bearish, but I've also said too, right at the get-go, coming up to this, this is a major trading level 2 with Bitcoin. It's at 50. I said coming up into this space, it's going to be emotional, where everybody's going to be in the guessing game. Will it be bullish? Will it be bearish? And you'll see some people that have really strong opinions. And as I mentioned, those opinions can get you in trouble, not only in the market, but in life itself, as you may know already. So all we're saying is that there's a good case for a top being in place. Okay. So coming back to Bitcoin here and looking at the bearish case, so the bearish case is that from the top here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Then, and this is, I've got 2 counts to go up here, but this is the most logical and easiest one. So 1 and 2, and then looking up here further. So we're at the 50, 60, we're in the box. We're at this, the supply zone. We're at a major level. It's hit here. And if we do go down, well then, yeah, we'll I don't know. All we'll have to do is count 5 waves down. Now, it may just take us to the 27,000. It may take us to the 18,000. Maybe there's a bigger picture unfolding that we're unaware of. And, we could look at all of this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and we go down for a massive 3rd wave. I know you don't want to hear that, but, you've got to put everything on the table and then eliminate them one by one. But one of the things, let's just say for a moment the market does come down, okay? I mean, if it does come down, it's the angle that will be important. So compared to this here, so if we put this from the top to there, that we could say that's a fair enough angle, isn't it? So we could say that if the market came down fast like that, faster than the A wave, because normally in a correction you would see the market move up, and it's the A wave that's the sharpest, and then there'll be the B wave, and the C wave will be a bit lazier like that. So, and then that will tell us we're in an ABC. So we would want to see this being more lazy over here like that. Then we know that would be in a C wave. But if we see it come down from here sharper than wave A, then we would have to put this down here as a 3rd wave. It's as simple as that. I'm just giving it to you straight. I'm not, I'm just looking at both sides and being balanced and moderate about the situation. But that, these are the things that we all need to be aware of. This move up through here counts nicely as 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's diminishing in the structure. If we take the bearish view of it, each leg is diminishing, isn't it? And we know that the volume that we just looked at was also diminishing as well. So the volume actually confirms the price action. If we were seeing increasing volume, well, then it would be a different story, but we're certainly not seeing increasing volume. So let's cruise on in, and if we were counting that to the upside, we would be looking at it like this. So in this case, we could say that we have a top in play. Everything being reasonably viewed, that would be it. It does make a nice A, B, and C wave here. It does count as 5 waves. It's not expanding, it's diminishing. And also the volume that you can see on the weekly chart, on a proper chart, you'll see that the volume is diminishing as well. So there's a good case for that. Now, like I mentioned, if the 46,500 becomes the retested resistance, then then it helps confirm that we're going to be going down lower. It also helps confirm if we get 5 waves down here in this first little leg. Let's just double check this. So that's the 61.8%. So even if you're looking at that as wave 1 up here, then you'd still 5 waves down for the wave A, B, and C here. So, you know, it could be okay. I'm just saying that there will be a problem if that becomes, that 46,500 roughly in there becomes the resistance. I mean, obviously the other confirmation is this. And the other thing too is that if we looked at, well, it's hard to look at all of this as just, we could look at it all as wave 1, but then we'd still be looking back at, you know, if we were sort of really hoping about things, then it could just come back to this level here. And we look at all of this as wave 1 here and back for wave 2 here, and then move up from that point. But it's a bit of a long shot, but it's not, you know, it would still be on the table. But the fact is that this is the low. This move up here, when this first happened, and that was the low, and this moved up here, and then we started to move up here, then we had to call that in as the low. We would have to say this is in 3 waves. So whatever happens here, it's all part of that corrective pattern. That was the story back then. It still holds now. And yeah, so as I also mentioned, this is also going to be quite emotional up here, and even myself and everybody else will be in the guessing game. Anybody that has a really strong opinion of it being bullish at this point, or really strong being a bearish at this point, I'd just be still a bit weary of that, and we just need to build a case for either direction. Okay, so let's just move in a little bit closer here to the 2-hour chart. So with the 2-hour chart here, it's the same thing. It's got a few counts here, but wave 3, 4, and 5 to this point. So we're working 2 counts for this. So we've got wave 5 here with wave C of B here as a top in play, or otherwise we need to look at this as wave 1 here and back for 2. We've been to the tick chart, so we don't need to go back there, but I just do want to spend a little bit of time just here. So we know that's the 61.8% mark. So we could look at it as this wave 1 or this wave 1. It doesn't really matter. Our first step is that if this move comes down here, then you know that this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Then you know that we're going to get an ABC pattern come back up, maybe into the supply levels here, and then we're going to have another 5 waves down. If it goes to here and there, well, then we're safe, and we've got this as this wave 1 and 2. Or we can also put that there, but I'll just put it here, whichever, it doesn't matter. But if that, after that here, if that gives us 5 waves here, then that could just come back up to 50-60% in three waves, probably retesting the trend line. So I might just do that and then drop from that point. So then you've got the bulls will have a problem at that point. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, no change from yesterday, but just still, you know, mulling all this over here and working it. So, I mean, you know, I hope it's bullish, and I hope it just, you know, goes to 100,000. But, you know, it's like a girl putting on lipstick, getting hope, isn't it? So, anyway, I'll leave it at that. I've said my piece. Alrighty, cheers.